Hi ladies, so today's video is especially for you. Today we're going to be talking about your period and exercise. Now I think this topic is so important because as you know there are so many different hormonal changes during our menstrual cycle, which can not only affect the way we feel, but also the way we perform when we exercise. So today I'm going to take you through the stages of your period and what exercise is best suited to each stage. Alright, let's get straight into it. Okay, so firstly, I think it's really important we understand how our period works. Now, some of you might already know this, but I'm going to try and relate it as much as possible to exercise because that's what this video is about. All right, so if we have a look at this graph, now you can see our menstrual cycle is divided into two different phases. We've got the first 2 weeks, which is the follicular phase, and then the last 2 weeks, which is the luteal phase. So let's focus first on the follicular phase. Now you can see this starts the first day we get our period, so when we start bleeding, and then it finishes when we start ovulating, so about 14 days later when our body releases an egg. The luteal phase then begins for the second half and then finishes when we start our period again. So the whole cycle is about 28 days. Now remember, everybody's period is a little bit different, so yours might be shorter or longer than this. Now notice how there are 2 main hormones that affect our menstrual cycle. These are estrogen and progesterone. Now just for the purpose of this video, I want you to focus on a couple of things. So notice in the follicular phase, the estrogen is quite high and progesterone is quite low, whereas in the luteal phase, it's the opposite. Progesterone is quite high and estrogen is low. Now, a lot of people think estrogen is quite detrimental to exercise, which is actually not true. It's a very important female hormone, and in regards to exercise, it really helps with muscle recovery and also builds muscle at a faster rate. So now that we know a little bit more about our menstrual cycle, let's talk about what exercise is best suited for each phase. Let's start with the follicular phase, and in particular, talking about week 1, so the actual week of our period. Now remember, periods are different. They might go for 3 days, they might go for 7 days, and also the symptoms that we feel. So usually the first few days are when we have worse symptoms. So you might feel things like bloating, you might have cravings, you might feel tired, you might feel restless, irritable, and just feel bleh. Now, during these first few days, if you are getting symptoms, I recommend just to choose any sort of movement or exercise that you feel your body needs. So this might be actually having a day off and just lying on the couch, or maybe you want to go for a gentle walk, do gentle stretching or yoga or even Pilates. It's actually been shown that stretching can help relieve muscle cramps. Or you might choose to do something like swimming, and swimming in a warm body of water is a really nice idea as well because that warmth will help to release those cramps. Or you might feel completely fine and feel like you can do your normal training, which is great. The most important thing to remember here is that you can exercise during your period. It is completely safe and actually very beneficial for your body. It really helps to release those feel-good hormones. Now, as our period continues towards the later phases, we'll go back to the graph quickly. You'll notice our estrogen levels begin to rise, and this is really important because this starts to make us feel a lot better. So maybe that bloating has subsided, maybe you're feeling a lot more happier, you have more energy, and this is a great phase to start doing some high intensity exercise. So anything like HIIT training, you can do heavy weights, sprinting, running intervals. All of this stuff is really good to do for your body now because you're probably feeling a lot more energetic, your muscles are actually stronger, and you feel like you can be more productive in your sessions. Now it's important to note here that because estrogen is increasing during this phase and progesterone is decreasing, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to have more power, more energy, you're going to have more endurance and a higher threshold for pain. Best part is you're going to recover quicker as well. So this is a great opportunity to go for PBs, do sprint training, put more weight on the bar, and in general, push harder during your sessions. So let's move on to the second phase, the luteal phase. And this begins when we ovulate, usually around day 14 of our period. Now, during ovulation, estrogen is at its highest, which means you'll probably feel your most strongest and most energetic. But as the hormones begin to change, so as progesterone begins to increase and estrogen begins to decrease, you'll slowly start to feel symptoms again. Things like bloating, water retention, you might start to get cravings, you might become irritable, and you might notice that your energy and strength begin to decrease as well. Now, these symptoms usually begin to get worse as the weeks move along. So the 4th week of our period is usually when we're going to be feeling our most crappiest. You know, those days where you just feel like your workout is against you. So my exercise recommendations for this phase is doing less intensity. So you might want to do something like steady state cardio, where you're going for a long run, a long walk, a long bike ride, or maybe a long swim. In the weights room, decreasing the weight and increasing the reps, so really working on technique and endurance. Or you might even want to focus on things like power yoga or Pilates, where you're really focusing on moving your own body weight. Now remember, because of all those hormonal changes, especially the fact that progesterone is quite high and estrogen is low during this phase, you're generally going to feel crappy. So you're going to have less energy, you're going to be more irritable and really feeling like you're fatiguing a lot quicker. The most important thing I want you to remember here is don't be hard on yourself. Just try and push through your sessions the best you can. Try and grab those positive moments in your session and know that when the cycle starts again, you're going to train better, you're going to feel more energetic, and you're going to be more powerful. So there you have it, guys, a quick little rundown on your menstrual cycle and the best exercise to suit each phase. Now, just like I mentioned throughout this video, every period is different, and that's not only between women, also every period that you experience. So 1 month you might have the worst symptoms and just feel blah, and the next month you might not have any symptoms at all and feel a lot better. So adjust your exercise to suit how you're feeling. The most important thing to remember is that exercise is completely safe and beneficial at any point of your period. So get out there and get active. If you do have any concerns about your period and exercise, please don't be afraid to see a doctor and get specific advice for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.